to be live. Let's see if YouTube has recognized us as being live yet. Let's see here. We are actually live. Look at that. Sweet. We are live. So, hello and welcome to the Tenno 2-drink minimum.
Tenno 2-drink minimum? Is
The
that what we are?
Yes, the Tenno 2-drink minimum.
So,
A primarily Warframe podcast where we cover really games in general and movies and other content, but we always come back to the game that we tend to play as the console casuals, and that is Warframe. But who are we? Who is the console casuals? Well, I am Cazz, one half of the console casuals, and as always, I am joined by...
ShotFace.
Wow, not even going for it this week.
No, you just took the wind out of my sails last week, and you know what? Between you and IRL, not having it today. What are you drinking?
I am drinking Tito's.
Tito's, which is handmade vodka from
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas, whatever. So I am drinking that same Key West rum I was drinking last week. We actually saved it because that crap's expensive.
Yeah.
So this is the Tenno 2-drink minimum. So if you're watching, drink along. Yep. If you're of age in the States.
Yes.
Anyway.
But cheers.
Salud. Okay. This week on the Tenno 2-drink minimum, we get a couple of things to talk about. A couple of games on the radar. A couple of games definitely in the hopper right now.
Yep.
Real quick, our first segment usually, or I guess what we have been doing lately, is what games are we playing? So,
yes.
First, what games have you been playing this week? And I already know the answer, but go ahead.
Yes. I have been playing a lot of Fortnite and a fair amount of Paragon, actually. I got into the Paragon mood a while back, even though we're going to talk about this later, but there's some cool stuff coming down the pipeline for Paragon. I got a little homesick, and since me and you are both founders, I haven't played in a while.
You're coming in a little scratchy to me. Sorry.
Am I?
I'm double check the audio. Go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, I got a little homesick because, I mean, granted, I've been playing Paragon since, like, Legacy literally first came out. Like, the second day of Founders Pack came out, I bought it and got in. And we are both Master Founders, so we've been playing for quite a long time and seen quite a few iterations, and there's going to be a new iteration, which we will talk about in the podcast today. But, I got a little homesick, so I decided to play a little bit, and I've been playing a lot of Fortnite with, ShotFace, too, so... What have you been playing?
Other friends. What have I been playing? I have actually been playing a fair amount of Warframe, obviously, because Harrow has been live on the PlayStations there, since we're here on the consoles, here in Shantytown of Console Land, and I have also been playing Fortnite. We both bought into the early access with a couple of our buddies, who we actually are clan mates here on Warframe as well, my old friends E and John. And that's pretty well been it. I have a couple of other games kind of on my radar, and I think this weekend I'm probably going to dive into Transistor pretty hard.
Again, really?
I never beat Transistor on my first run through because I had a lot of other games coming up. And I know Pyre just came out, and people are saying good things about Pyre. It sounds like it's a game that's right up my alley, and it's Supergiant. It's the same crew who did Bastion and Transistor, so I'm like, man, those guys make some really good games that I've loved for so long. Like, Bastion is one of my favorite fucking games, and Transistor just hits this beautiful noir spot. It's so amazing.
Good. It's so it really is. It's like, honestly,
my dynamic theme on my PlayStation for the last several years has been the Transistor dynamic theme.
Yeah, Transistor
because it has that music in the background constantly.
Well, and from like being a very artsy person in school and all of that, like Transistor hits a really weird spot because I like many different genres of music, but it hits this really weird spot of being very artsy but having a really, really well done story and the music that drives this entire narrative story. It's really, really well done.
We are gonna do just some. All right, so we're gonna we're just gonna run some relics today
Mm-hmm.
and just have this mindlessness going on in the background.
Let's do some
In Warframe. Okay, so that's what we're playing. What has been going on this week? Obvious notes are Harrow has been out for a little while now on consoles, and I actually went the hardcore way of literally funding and building, and now the slow process of leveling the Nell secondary weapon, the Scourge primary weapon, and Harrow himself, which I will be using today with our beloved Prisma Gukata.
Right.
Because the headshots are real, and I have an Argon scope build for my Prisma Gukata. Because, you know, I gotta be that guy who uses the Argon scope on the fucking gnarliest
Bullet
kickback
holes.
little submachine gun.
Ooh, your hair looks good.
Yeah, I've been working on it. I want to get the alt helm, but I want to do everything like legit from here on out because I'm so close to MR24 that I actually want to like really try to play the game in its vanilla state, like without boosters, without trying too hard, without spending any money, and just going ham, right? So that's kind of been my focus while playing this last week or so. Plus, I have this. This is actually the Solstice Silex Sayandana, but you can't see the print on it. Yeah, I got it a long time ago. I really like it on him. It just feels right. Okay, you're doing speed. Speed is not good for frame rate, just real quick. speed is very bad for
fun.
True, but I don't get to do a whole lot as Harrow. That's fine though, because the way XP works in this game is totally fine. Anyway, so yeah, this is Harrow has been out. I know you haven't built him yet because you've been on a very big Paragon kick, as well as we've been playing a good amount of Fortnite, which we'll get into that in a second. But I got the Scourge, got to play with it a little bit today because I finally actually broke it out. I'm not the biggest fan of the Nell, even though I love sniper rifles. The Nell just doesn't seem like it's going to get as much use. I mean, from playing pubs and things like that, I don't think the Nell is going to get a whole lot of use from me. I don't see like it's got definite potential for skill, and when I get that itch to really want to play hard, that'll be the telling thing. Oh yeah, my Harrow is very squishy. Very squishy.
I see, like, maybe the Nell being used in your Avara build or something like that, giving you a nice precision weapon.
Maybe,
something like that.
maybe. I could definitely see it. It definitely does. I mean, the synergies between the Nell, the Scourge, and Harrow are pretty obvious. You know, if you've seen any video, you know how it all works. But I don't feel the Nell is as substantial as the Scourge. The Scourge, I think, is going to work better for me because I have a Riven on my what is it, Axolotl Prime that I absolutely adore, and I have a hydraulic crosshair build for them with a Riven on. So the headshot potential using the Scourge and then instantly whipping out my Axolotl Prime definitely goes over very well, because the Scourge, you know, does the whole throw it and it makes a headshot bullet attractor in a certain radius. So I'm like, that's awesome. Now, I don't know if anybody else has tested this, but I want to try it. I want to know if Sinister Reach will increase the range of the headshot bullet attractor. I haven't seen anything on it. I mean, I could be totally mistaken here, but it seems like that would be a really cool thing. It just increased that range of the bullet attractor to, you know, just catch more enemies. Essentially, that'd be the goal. Because when I use the Axolotl Prime, I just tear through stuff. Like it's a critical status build for sure. Right. So it just rips through things at any level. So I try not to use sortie or, you know, doing something really high tier, or I know I'm gonna go for a while. You know. Right. So that's there. My thoughts on Harrow. I'm still leveling him. I finally unlocked all his abilities, so I don't have the full potential of all of his stuff, as I have been just playing him today. Because, again, we've been playing other games, so I know a lot of people have already really kind of done their thing. I do love his one ability. His first ability is the CC ability, essentially, the chains. It's very enjoyable. I found that. His potential for generating energy and health and things like that, really, really good. I definitely dig it. Flagellation is very interesting, and I love some of the themes with him, because again, I know we've joked about it before, I was raised a heavy-handed Catholic, so, you know, King James II all the way, but, so the definite nods towards essentially some very heavy-handed Catholic I don't know, tropes.
Yeah. Yeah.
From the past are definitely present, especially with the self-flagellation of his second ability and things like that. Like that's it's very apparent. I mean, I get it, but I dig it in a certain way because I mean, if you've ever watched or read the book, what the hell was that damn movie? The Da Vinci Code, right?
Yeah.
There's a character in that who does that shit because he's part of this like deep-seated part of the Catholic Church and stuff, and it's like really, really intense. And I just kind of dig that stuff because there's so much weird lore and crazy shit surrounding the Catholic Church. So I don't know. There's a lot of speculation about all this underhanded-ish kind of stuff there, and it's since the Catholic Church is so old and it's been a big part of so many pieces of history. Major events in history. There's a lot of good and bad.
We need to clear this out.
Wow, we are sucking today. Holy crap! You did not bring your CC build, and this is a mobile defense. Look at you. Look what you did.
We need to hurry because the thing's gonna go down. And release.
Yep, there it is. Oh my god, we actually lost. We lost live on stream. We did that. We did that. That is our fault.
Yep. I mean, it looks like your fault because I mean, I got 85% damage, but
So you coming over tomorrow, huh? you gonna get kicked in the balls? That's where we're at with that.
Pretty much.
But yeah, so that's where I'm at with Harrow. I'm still really kind of feeling him out, honestly, and he definitely needs more actual health. Like putting just shields on him is one thing, but shields in this game, I mean, until shield gating becomes an actual thing, it's really not as viable as you would think. But he does have other abilities that make him super useful, so you can't really just kind of bank on the one thing. So I don't know. Once I get him up to max level, I want to see what I want to do with him. Maybe take a look at some more in-depth builds and see what the PC crowd has done with him so far. I don't see a whole lot of people kind of maining him necessarily just yet. So he's interesting, and I see he's more of a solo play guy, even though he has benefits for team play essentially, right? It definitely beneficial, but I don't feel he is really all that great outside of solo play. I like him solo play.
Right.
I like him better solo play, rather. He does work as kind of a passive healer type of energy buff guy, and that's all great.
Like
so, but I think Oberon in Oberon's current state for the job generally, and Trinity, obviously Trinity is OP. So yeah. Don't mention Trinity nerfs at Tenno Live on stage when you have the entire crowd on your side, okay?
I'm gonna say this just because this is what I thought. Like, okay, it's one thing is like it's all great and stuff to like okay, I'm gonna propose on Tenno Live stage, but then while you have the community of Warframe by the balls, ask about a Trinity nerf. Like, really? Come on, man.
Yeah, it just it's been covered. It's been covered. Let it go.
Okay.
Like people have already poked fun at the guy. He's another Tenno man, and he just proposed, literally there. So he did one really good thing, and then he just kind of he poked the bear, man.
Yeah. Well, and granted, he got away with it.
And he did.
That's not something many can say, so we'll give him that. But anyway, more on this week. So we've covered Harrow, because I haven't gotten a hold of him, so I don't really have a whole lot to say about him yet.
Yeah. So in other Warframe news, something else went live last night on the PC build, which I am excited to get because I feel it will work very well with Big Daddy Frost.
Right. Slow.
And that is the lens, which if anybody was watching Primetime, you'll know the lens, or you've seen them using it, even though Exalted Blade was cheating, but whatever. The lens is definitely an interesting weapon after everybody has taken a genuine look at it, and I've found that myself and Headshot, after having spoken to him, we see we definitely like a lot of the same things. We kind of come at it from the same mindset, right? I mean, we started that conversation based on the fact that I love sniper rifles in this game, even though a lot of people feel they have no place, and he loves sniper rifles because it's a very engaging play style. It's not that they don't. Some people might say they have no place because there's no real big range, but I mean, Planes of Babylon might change that. I'm hoping they do. But currently, quick scoping and playing this game like it's fucking Call of Duty, yeah, I'm down with that. Totally down with it.
Right.
But so we got to that bit of a conversation where we kind of feel the same way about stuff, and I do regret not having asked him about the Nell and the Helios thing. Yeah, I totally spaced on it. Like, I hit him up on Twitter, but I know it was right before TennoCon when that happened, and he didn't actually get back to me, and then I meant to ask him when we were actually sitting there, and I fucking spaced because I, was talking about the whole sniper thing, and we were like, yeah, and we started fucking going on about it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and honestly, I'm kind of with other people. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the snipers. I'm just not.
Oh, seriously?
Stalker? Really?
Yeah.
Where are you?
I am right here in front of you.
Okay.
I am... Alright, I'm gonna have to shut the room down a little bit.
I hear him, but I don't see him.
Yeah, he's coming. Anyway, but yeah, no, I don't want to get on the tangent about snipers. We're talking about the bow. The bow that just dropped on PC, which has been stated is already in the process. But the build is already in the works for console. Like they are trying to get it out to us very quickly with some of the Harrow updates that have come out after Harrow. Like they want this one essentially in the hands of players on console pretty fast. So we're looking at another week, maybe 2 at most. It might. My guess, best guess would be if they're already talking about wanting to put it on console, that means they're ready to submit to cert probably beginning of next week.
Yeah, something like that.
Where the hell did the stalker go?
I don't know. I haven't. Mother. Okay, get that shit off of me. Okay. But yeah, like, I don't know exactly where they are on that that set at least. I'm not sure.
There he is. It should be fairly close, but
I wouldn't see them pushing it out that quickly though. That's my biggest thing. It's like I don't see them
there's
pushing it out
not much
that
in those updates. There's not much in the updates, honestly. So
yeah, but I also see that as
fairly quickly.
I see that more as a reason for them not to. I see that more as a reason for them to not necessarily push so hard to get it out.
Well, you got to figure with the planes coming,
maybe some preloading.
Do a lot of preloading, so this way they can have the planes really just kind of hit. Because the planes is going to be a sizable chunk. It's going to be a couple gigs. There's no getting around that. Because the amount of data that they're looking at incorporating into the planes it's pretty sizable. Right?
Yeah,
you're looking at an entire play space that is static. That is one big fucking thing, and it's gonna have some dynamic stuff going on with it. I'm just gonna keep moving from him because I know he will switch me. Let's hit him with the kid.
That's what
so
I'm
we can take off his resistances. Okay, yeah. Because I have the Prisma Gurkata. If he's got no resistances, I can just shoot through him. There he goes. He's dead.
There he goes. Cool.
Alright. But yeah, so it looks to me like maybe they want to get some of these smaller updates out and definitely push to front load a lot of stuff. So this way, when the planes comes out, it's not going to be such a heavy burden. Because the last big update we got changed the actual game files extensively. They cut 10 gigs of, I guess, not necessarily useless data, but data that was
stuff
better
that's
optimized.
old. Yeah, they optimized it, put it in better spots, probably zipped up a few more files, made it easier for the game to find stuff, as well
and the game
as
definitely
old
has
stuff.
Changed.
Yeah.
The game definitely loads faster. That is it. You definitely see that.
For sure. 100% for sure.
So, I mean, I know you're playing on a Pro right now. I'm playing on a regular PlayStation, and the game loads considerably faster. Now, I've had a couple of crashes, a couple of minor crashes, but that can be attributed to a lot of things. We've also had crashes in a lot of other games.
Yeah. There's been
everything else we
issues
played
all
has crashed
over.
once or twice.
Yeah.
So, I don't doubt that. And they do have some other stuff that's coming in with the this next update, which will have the lens, which, again, getting onto the lens here, like, real quick, they will have a fix for one of the raids, because the Earth Remaster screwed up one of the raids. I didn't look into it too much, but apparently there was an issue with some of the, like, floor was missing. Like, there were some genuine issues with, not just texture, but actual architecture missing from that stuff. So, they have, they've seen that and they're fixing it.
Right.
But there's also, the... Shit.
Go ahead.
I didn't have chat open, my bad. What do you guys say? Oh, hey, Encore Gamer. Somebody told you to sub to us. That's cool. I appreciate that, whoever told you.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, the lens itself, that should be the focus here, because I am curious about this thing with all of the mechanics that are coming with this thing.
Right.
I've heard a couple people say, like, oh my god, you know, the crit and blah blah blah, and the way you can build it. It's like, well, you can build the Dread that way, but the Dread doesn't do the crazy explosive proc thing that this thing does.
Right.
And it also has innate ammo mutation, which I think is super fucking useful, because I don't really care to carry carrier around all the frickin' time.
Yeah, right.
So I'm excited about it because of the potential of doing some of these status possibilities, because there's 3 chances for status when actually using it, and I have prime fast hands.
Okay. That seems it seems like it has a lot of potential. Honestly, as far as consoles go, like, or as far as it doing damage and stuff, I'd have to get my hands on it, and that's probably not gonna happen for a while, because it might be in the next cert. It may be. We don't know yet.
No, it's going to be in the next cert.
Okay.
But whether it's going to be next week or the week after, I'm looking closer towards the week after.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I brought up Headshot earlier was because he really loves this thing. So I have this idea in my head that because he and I see the game in a very similar light, I am going to fall in love with this weapon. And I've already looked at the potential of it working with my Big Daddy Frost build. So stripping armor and using the viral procs and the explosive and things like it just in my head it makes sense, but I really have to use it to get some tactical feedback and really understand it. I don't know if it's going to be genuinely perfect, but I do love using bows in this game because they do have that similarity towards sniper rifle, where they take a little bit more effort than just spray and pray.
Right. Now, Encore Gamer brings up an interesting point, because this is the same. Hold on, this is the same thing that we've been talking about with the past, because the past 2 weapons have been mainly crit-based weapons with no status. And so it's I have kind of the same opinion, kind of going into this versus armor-based enemies. One of my favorite melee weapons of all time, which I'm using here, is Oma. Oma is a straight critical status build, because it only uses status. And I like it. I like it for the reasons that it works. It's one of the few solely status builds that work. Now, I have used crit builds in the past, and I do enjoy them for what they do, and there are ways to get around it. Like, that's what this game is about, is ways to get around things, using procs to get around stuff. And you can use other things to get around armor. So I still see critical weapons as a way of doing
that's what I was getting at with this weapon specifically. Now, you have if you put on 3 dual stat mods to the lens, you can get up to a 25% status chance, right? So, with that 25% status chance, you have 3 chances of proccing, or 3 instances of one shot with a 25% chance. So effectively, with one bullet, you have, 25% chance 3 times. Because the initial strike, the freeze proc, and then the blast proc, they all have a chance of proccing whatever status is on, right? So that really brings that up. Now, the reason I was talking about my Big Daddy Frost build is because that is a power strength build for Frost. Essentially, it's based off of Kinsho's Crippling Hailstorm, which is an armor stripping build, 100% armor stripping with Frost's 4th ability. So, and you just go on with survivability mods, Life Strike, Rage, and all these things to keep yourself fueled up, essentially. So, the idea of me stripping armor constantly and then using that for explosive procs and things of that nature, and just moving the battlefield where I want it to and taking away armor constantly. I I could see that working in very late game stuff.
And
Not,
I mean,
no, I won't say very late game. I'll say mid to late game stuff.
Yeah.
I can definitely drag that weapon along.
And even like
critical status is king, and condition overload just rules the roost right now. So.
Right. And you have even like that's a one way to go about it. But even on the most basic level, you still have 4 corrosive projections, 4 stack corrosive projections.
Yeah, there's definitely other ways around it, but again, looking at it for, just the individual playing the game, I don't look at builds for just weapons. I look at builds for the entirety of my frame. So, like, if I'm going to be using this melee, this secondary, and this primary, they're going to be set up in a certain way that I can use all of them to benefit me in one way or another. They're going to make up for something that something else lacks. Very much like the current dual wielding, as it's, I guess that's what they're calling it, the glaive and secondary weapon deal, where people are looking at, you can use the Nell or any other crit-based weapon or status-based secondary, or Merlock, something like that, to tack on with the current, what is it, I can't think of it, Glaive Prime, and its ability to proc statuses and things like that, So you can really tack on damage, and those two weapons start, a good secondary, and that will complement each other very, very well in the current meta. So that's really expanding builds, which is something I like, because when I thought about my Big Daddy Frost build, it's like, I'm looking at not just Frost and what he can do, no one-button frame bullshit here. I'm stripping armor, but I need something to kill them after I've stripped the armor. I need to stack viral and status on a weapon. I need to fucking use essentially fucking the Legion or a critical status build on some type of melee weapon and really get in there with making sure I have life strike so I can compensate for me getting my ass kicked. I want to be able to be in that mode at all times. So you have rage and life strike on, and you're constantly in the middle of combat. All you do is stop, strip armor one time, and then just keep spamming melee.
Blender mode.
Yeah, so, and doing that with a Frost is a little silly. He's not the tankiest of tanks. He's up there, but he's not the top tier. My Frost, then his build, for all the things that I put on him, every weapon with his tankiness, and he is actually top tier now. I definitely can sortie and fucking wreck some shit and go into volunteer survivals with him. So, like, I'm looking at the weapon from more of the standpoint of the build overall, not necessarily the weapon by itself,
Right, okay. I see where you're coming at. And to an extent, I like that, and I like, building around a frame, or building around a loadout, as it were. Like, I like that. That's a cool idea to me.
Yeah,
and that's something that you can do in this game.
It's something that, again, comes from Diablo. When you build for Diablo, you have to take into account your weapons and all of your abilities and armor and all the perks you're getting from all these different places. You stack all that together to make the most exploitative thing you can with the numbers given to you, right? So that's how I've approached builds in this. I never just look at, well, not never, but I used to look at a frame as being this one-button thing. I'm gonna build for his alt, and that's it.
Old school Ash.
Yeah, old school Ash, Excalibur, things like that. Like when somebody uses Excal primarily for Exalted Blade, like shit like that. Like, I get doing that, and that's cheap and easy, and it makes sense because it's cheap and easy. But you're gonna go into top tier and you're gonna get bored. I want to play the frame. I want to really use and show a versatility and technicality, and not just take that frame into top tier, but I want to go ham with that frame in top tier.
Right.
I'm not saying you can't with Exalted Blade. You can, definitely, but I also want to be able to cover my ass if something happens. Like, there's fucking Eximuses all over the place. You're getting leeched. You're getting screwed left and right. Like, okay, how do you deal with? I want to have weapons that will compensate. I want to have my, depending on the situation, my Smita's maxed out, and obviously Helios can destroy things in fucking the sortie. People say Sentinels aren't that badass in late game. No. Helios wrecks shop if you build them right.
Right. And so, with that being said, I mean, we are kind of we do like the overall builds, and the overall builds is really, really nice. And so, do you think the what's it called? The lens.
Yeah.
Do you think the lens is going to be more of a starter weapon that you use to build up, or is it going to be able to be viable? Or are you going to see it more in Ender, like more late game play?
I think it's going to be. Okay, when you look at the base stats, people are going to look at it and go, "This is interesting and new," and there's obviously going to be buzz around it because it's definitely a buzzworthy weapon, right? The community is going to really latch onto it for. I think guys who have been playing for a long time are really going to look at it and be like, okay, I can exploit this weapon to its fullest potential, and that's going to cause newer players to look at it and go, obviously something is good with this, and want to use it. So it's going to be okay in low tier. It's going to be dangerous for guys who aren't as experienced and don't understand kind of some of the mechanics of damage and things of that nature, because again, that's not stuff that's really explained in this game, and you're going to see a lot of people getting their shit pushed in by their own arrows, you know. Which is a very common thing. Everybody that has been using it the last 24 hours on PC has, you know, at least fucked up once or twice and gotten themselves caught in their own bubble. Because it will freeze you and then explode. And it is a 50% crit chance, just like the Dread. Yeah. Now, if you build the Dread right, the Dread will absolutely fucking destroy things, right? So
I mean, native, you're sitting at a 4.4 critical multiplier.
Yeah.
With the 2 crit damage and crit chance mods. You're sitting at that already.
Okay. Encore is of the opinion that it will be mid-tier and situational. I am very inclined to agree with that. I am. Very much so. I don't see it being used in the absolute top tier. I mean, Life of Rio is not going to take this thing into a fucking 8-hour survival, right? Because no, I'm not saying it's not usable in that. I'm just saying it's not as economical because you also have the drawback of the ammo pool. It does have ammo mutation, but it is only 6 rounds.
Yeah,
and
but
it's more usable in open environments than it is in closed environments.
I could easily see him being able to. I could very easily see him being able to.
I'm not saying it isn't possible. I'm just saying it wouldn't be preferred. There are better weapons in the roster right now.
True. I'll give you that, but
yeah, this is definitely. It looks like a zone control kind of weapon. It's definitely like Encore states. He sees himself using this for camp farm and with a buffing team.
Yeah,
I could definitely see that. This is definitely a utility weapon, not a raw DPS. It's a damage dealer, but it's not hardcore DPS. It's not going to be out there like a crazy Sabaris or a fucking Soma Prime built with crit, you know? Like, it's not just going to be shredding through things at a persistent rate. This is a paced weapon, right? Because all bows are generally paced weapons, and this is in the heavy bow class, which means you have to have a full charge before you can let that shot off, or otherwise it cancels.
Well, I'm also, like, because I always do, because I'm a Volt main, I'm thinking of, how would I use it with Volt Shield? And
I think the damage output would be considerable with Volt Shield.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because you get that extra crit bonus. You get the extra crit. Well, before you do that, why don't you go ahead and pour yourself an extra drink, because it is halfway through the podcast. So if you were watching, this is the 10:02 drink minimum, brought to you by the Console Casuals. I am one half of the Console Casuals. I am Cazz, and today I am joined by the other half of the Console Casuals, which is ShotFace. So, if you're wondering, if you're just joining us, or if this is the first time watching, we are 2 guys who are casual gamers who just enjoy playing Warframe, and Warframe, video games, movies, nerd culture in general, and we like drinking, so we thought, why not put those 2 things together, and we created the 10:02 drink minimum. So if you're of age in the United States, or wherever you're viewing from, go ahead and have a drink with us. And I am drinking vodka, Tito's Handmade, and you are drinking a very expensive rum. So
a very expensive rum from Key West.
Okay. So here is the second drink of the 10:02 drink minimum. Cheers.
Cheers. I'm sorry. Salud. I forget myself. If you are drinking and you're in the chat, go ahead and tell us what you're drinking.
Yeah.
Always a good time. So okay, now we've covered the Nell.
Yes.
That's the big deal right now for Warframe.
Or the lens.
Granted,
the lens. Yeah.
The lens. I keep the Nell has been a pain in my ass the last couple of days. I'm sorry. I've been playing with pubs anytime I actually do get on, and just trying to do the headshots and things like that. And I've used it with the Scourge the whole night. And
right.
Yeah, it's a solo weapon. But I'm digging Harrow to a certain extent. I haven't found his rhythm yet to really make him work. So other than what's going on in Warframe, what else are we doing? Like, what else is going on? And this is loaded, obviously, because of the two major things that are happening in the other games that we're very big on.
Right on. That's actually, like, I don't mind that. Sour Mash ain't bad. Like, everybody can say what they want.
Mash.
Sour Mash is pretty good.
Yeah. I am not averse to that. I'm not a big Jack fan, but I mean, I don't mind Jack. I just don't prefer it.
Right. But other than that, there has been something that we were talking about earlier, which is Paragon. We are both master founders of Paragon, the highest tier you can. So we both spent.
Actually, do you want to do Paragon or do you want to do Fortnite first? You want to just cover Fortnite because I know a lot of Fortnite is the hype right now. It's the buzz.
I mean, we can cover Fortnite first. That sounds
real quick. Okay, obviously we're getting on the early access and definitely I'm in the founders tier with John right now. For Fortnite, and we've been playing it, and they just earlier today released a video explaining how there is an update coming tonight at about 4 a.m. Eastern that is going to address some matchmaking issues and things like that, and they are working like diligently and pretty hardcore, and they're super happy that so many people are so into the game, and it's got so much buzz and things like that. Granted, they have been promoting the crap out of it lately, but
they really have.
It's definitely garnered a good following, and you know that they're looking at a lot of the things that everybody's saying. They are hanging out on Reddit, they are hanging out in the forums, they are talking to people and engaging, and they know a lot of the gripes and pains. So if you're playing Fortnite, don't worry. The dudes Flack and everybody, they know what's up. They're looking at what we have going on, and they're looking at fixing a lot of things. They have a decent update coming through tonight that's gonna help matchmaking, gonna help some server-side stuff, some back-end, and it's also gonna address some other issues that they didn't explain, but they also have been kind of sparse on releasing patch notes when it comes to these server downtime. Also, there's been some hiccups with connectivity for their servers with Xbox. So players on Xbox have been kind of SOL for the last couple of days.
Well, I mean, they decided to play on Xbox.
Hey. Easy there, killer.
Sorry, I'm kind of a PlayStation fanboy because I was a 360 guy, and PlayStation's where it's at.
Just because you got beat up in Halo, don't mean you got to take it out on the Xbox kids. All right, that Halo is where I cut my teeth fucking competitively. All right.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so that's pretty well what's going on with Fortnite. It is really fun. I am thoroughly enjoying it. I am gonna probably take a good break from it because of the other game that Epic is producing that we are top tier founders of.
Yeah.
Because I am genuinely grateful that I did jump on it with you. I appreciate the fact that I know we've killed a couple of them in the last couple of missions, but Fortnite is going to be on the back burner for a little bit. I will definitely dip my toes in here and there just to keep up with it and make sure everything's going great, because I do want that game to succeed. Like, I've obviously put enough money in it to really want it to be something much like Paragon. I definitely want Paragon to succeed because it's the first MOBA where I'm like, I want to play this. I genuinely enjoy this game, and version 42 comes in 1 week, so we can get on the Paragon tip. I don't get amped about shit like this. I really don't. I don't care about anything like this, but the more I see of version 42, the more I'm like, oh my god, this game is really coming together. There is something special going on here. And I like Epic's aesthetics, their art team and design, you know, since Unreal Tournament, which I used to play back on PC way back when, like, it's always been kind of meh, and I've never really truly been into it, but the more I see of Paragon, the more I'm starting to love it, because consoles are coming so much closer to actual decent PCs, like toaster-style PCs anyway, for the modern age. But because, you know, consoles can reach such a higher fidelity, you can really showcase what the Unreal Engine can do, and I am so appreciative of the actual art style nowadays compared to what you know, their art styling used to look like when Cliffy B worked there.
Gorilla.
No hate on Cliffy B.
With gun.
No hate on Cliffy B. I love Gears. I loved the Unreal Tournament when I played it.
I'm honestly interested in Lawbreakers. Lawbreakers looks interesting.
I am not, and I feel weird about that. Like, should be right up my alley, dude. It's kind of a hero shooter, kind of hyper-kinetic, very competitive type of game. I should be all over that, but I just don't see anything for that game that I'm like, man, I really want to get into this. I mean,
Plus, it's one of the first games to do 60 frames on console, full multiplayer.
No, it's not. It's not. There's a couple games that have done that.
There's only one other one that I know of.
Halo does it, and Call of Duty's done it. They've both been on the 60 frames for a while now. Yeah, okay. That's been done.
Because the only other one I knew of was Doom.
Oh, yeah. Encore says take your game volume down again.
Oh, okay, yeah. I
okay,
will totally
thank you.
Do that. Mm-hmm.
Always state this because this is, if you ask any YouTuber or any streamer, volume, like sound, is an ongoing struggle. It's always a battle to get it just right. And we've been struggling with it constantly.
And we tend to have
volume down, getting audio volume up, things like that.
When we're on consoles, it's a whole lot harder to adjust because I don't have a whole lot of other places to adjust it.
So what I did for streaming when I stream on Twitch is I take everything down to about 50%. And then I go just a little bit further, and then I adjust the actual settings on my PlayStation.
Okay.
So all of my game audio is always turned way, way down. So 50% or less generally in there is a good pocket. Most people don't complain about that stuff.
Right.
Not that complaining is bad. Constructive criticism is always welcome because we really want to refine what we're doing here. So,
yeah, for sure. Thanks, man. Honestly, thank you.
Yes, that's always good feedback to know where the audio is because, man, we have just every fucking podcast is a struggle with audio. Yeah,
it really
every
is.
Single
Either
time.
Somebody's scratchy or something. Or...
Oh yeah, oh my god, look. I don't want to get into it. That one podcast where all of my audio just went to crap. Yeah.
There's connectivity issues. Yay.
Yay. All right, so Paragon is getting a huge overhaul again. This is the second major overhaul to the game, and it is going to change the game fundamentally. It is still a MOBA, but holy crap, the stuff they are changing.
I'm MR23, or sorry, ShotFace is MR23. I'm MR17.
Yeah.
I've actually been playing longer though.
Yeah, he's been playing longer than me. He actually got me into Warframe, and we've talked about this before. My biggest thing is trying to get everything in the game, and I want to collect. I want to have all of the frames. I have every single frame in the game. I have almost every single weapon with the exception of a handful, and obviously I started on PlayStation, so I couldn't be a founder, so I don't have Excal Prime or any of the stuff that happened during the closed beta and things like that. So, MR24 will be just out of reach for a little bit longer, but not much longer with things coming out like the lens and stuff like that. How many hours in game? I have currently, my hours are...
I have like 30 days.
I have 34 days, 7 hours, 15 minutes, 823 hours total at an MR rank of 23 with only a few weapons left. I'm better than halfway through 23, and I'm leveling up the Scourge, the Knell, and Harrow right now. So,
but anyways, back to our conversation.
Yeah. So, all right, let me accept this relic.
Okay, but with Paragon, we're both founders. With Paragon. And they had, like, if you don't know the story of Paragon, if you haven't played or anything, originally they came out with
story.
Well, the
game development story or the lore?
The game development story. The game development story.
Okay, I was going to say, because there's, like, little to no lore. There's a couple of blurbs, like, color text on a magic card. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Really, it's honestly a lot like that. But we'll get back to magic cards later.
No.
But it's the game development stories. It came out, and it was...
I had a flashback to the day after TennoCon and the picnic and the tournament with Daniel the Demon and Brozime and everybody, and how Fred was learning magic from Rebecca. I'm sorry. Okay, keep going. Anyway, it's just really funny.
Yeah. But I was okay. So you told me about this game after we had started playing Warframe together. You told me about this game called Paragon that was coming out.
Yeah,
and it was this weird MOBA thing that you wanted to try out. And I saw it and I was like, I'm sold. Like, I saw the trailer with, the first opening trailer with, it was like the two teams against each other and was like, I'm sold. Like, I'm gonna pick this up. And so I got the base Founders Pack. which was, I think it was like $40. It was super cheap, super simple, and it just got you access to the game. I was like, okay, cool, this is fun. And I was like, well, the more I played it, the more I enjoyed. Whoa, okay. The more I enjoyed it. And so the more I was like, well, I really want this to succeed. So I kept giving them. I actually eventually upgraded to the Master Founders Pack, which I think ended up being like $120 to $150 total.
No, it was less than that.
Was it?
Considerably less than that. Yeah, no. It was. It wasn't as much as Fortnite. It definitely wasn't. It was only like $90. I think was the actual match, because there were 3 tiers.
Right. And so I gave them an upgrade of the Master Founders Pack. And over time, they started seeing issues with their gameplay, and were like, okay, we're going to change, instead of just piling Band-Aid fix on Band-Aid fix on Band-Aid fix on Band-Aid fix, we're going to fix the fundamental issue with our game. And that's when they changed the entire map, made this huge shift in game from
now, to be
the
clear,
old map, Legacy, to...
The time difference between the original map, Legacy, and the new map, Monolith, was like, what, 8 months to a year? Yeah, so they had about a year, close to a year, of actual testing time with the closed beta community.
Right. And so we had time to look at it. And
yeah, we had plenty of time. And Monolith was a severe overhaul. They took out the movement animations because there was a thing with movement speed that they felt was changing the fundamental play of the game as far as MOBAs are concerned. So they changed movement speed, they changed attack speeds, they changed damage payouts, they changed XP gains. Like literally everything at the core of the game was altered ever slightly to fit this smaller map and to kind of make some of the gameplay more meaningful.
Impactful.
And at the time, the change was so dramatic that it did kind of feel that way. So we find ourselves at another big mid-year update. This is the second one that takes the same drastic measures of changing the game so fundamentally with playstyle. They've increased attack speed. They have lowered base attack damage. They have changed it so that it feels like you're doing a lot more. It feels snappier. It feels... I don't know. They say that the feedback from the game is actually better.
And everything I've heard is like, this is straight from Sevron, which is one of the competitive teams, like theory crafters and tacticians. And straight from him, I watched a stream with him on it last night. This is straight from him. The offlaner. So the guy who sits in left lane is no longer, I'm going to sit under my tower and try not to die for the first 10 minutes. It's, I am going to mess with you and force you to deal with me, or you're going to die.
Yeah, it's a more appropriate role for the offlaner. He should be harassment. He should have a bit of an advantage, even though in that lane on the opposing team is their safe lane, where their carry and their support are hanging out.
Yeah, he's fighting 2v1. Yeah, he's fighting 2v1.
He should be able to contest. Like that's a given in a MOBA. You should be able to contest. There should be some even matching at the outset of the game. Right now, mid to late game when there's rotations and things like that, yeah, you're gonna have some ebb and flow, some balance shifting in power depending on playstyles and how the team communicates and things like that. Sure, but at the beginning of the game, your mid laners should be able to poke each other. Your junglers should be absolute harassment and a deterrence for killing
we'll get into
things.
that. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
As we're like now, mid lane is okay. We're gonna sit here and mess around until junglers get here.
Yeah.
Mid laners in 42 are, I am gonna poke you down and hurt you and make you back. That way you miss out on farm and I get free stuff.
Yeah. It should be a rock paper scissor of just fuckery back and forth. Really, it should be, because when you have that, it seems like it's very temperamental. And I know there was talk of deathballing, but that's also deathballing is always gonna be a thing when the new meta has shifted. Once people really get to know what they're doing and they understand some finer nuances to the gameplay and communication is a bigger factor, deathballing is gonna be abolished.
Yep, pretty much.
So that's not going to be a big issue, but in its current state, people are fearful that deathballing is going to take the meta at like the beginning of this version 42.
But
so you should have mid laners playing with each other back and forth. You should have the off laner being able to deal with a 2v1 situation, you know, at least on even odds, not necessarily have an advantage, but you know, if it changes the game to that degree to where, you know, your gameplay is really based on technique and approach, as opposed to just having an outright advantage because of the structure of the game.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's going to be way more fun. It's going to be way more engaging.
And this
this
is a update that we've been waiting for a while. We've seen coming.
This card
for a
update
while.
has been talked about since like last October was the first time it was mentioned. I believe.
New itemization.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, new itemization.
I could be wrong, but not the itemization, just the new cards. The new card thing was talked about for months.
Well, yeah,
like, since Monolith was put out, they were talking there's going to be a card rework, definitely, and then it turned into there's going to be a card overhaul, and then it turned into what we have now, which is a severe overhaul of the game's playstyle.
A itemization in total, not just cards overhaul.
Yeah, and like, okay, one thing that I wanted to point out was Notch said in his stream the other day, carries are to be feared, which is what is supposed to happen. Carries are supposed to be the absolute DPS for your team. Not absolute, but the primary DPS for your team is supposed to be a carry. In the current state and prior states of, like, between Legacy and Monolith, tanks have been kind of the meta. Either superbly or an underlying meta of building a lot of defense, a lot of health, a lot of things like that, and tanks have been the guys who go in and really wreck shop. Now carries, it took a little bit more skill to make a carry really, really usable, as opposed to just being some tick down DPS that would help everybody. You know, like there's definitely some carries out there who play it and will wreck shop. I don't doubt that, but carries were not something to be feared, they were just something to be targeted and gotten out of the way. Because it's like, I don't need your DPS, I need you out of the way, and I'm going to ignore everybody else until I get you, or I get your support and then get you. Now it's like, okay, the carry is looking at me, I need to get out of his line of sight because he will push my shit in. and that I am in love with.
You're no longer looking, okay, their support is by themselves, I'm going to go kill him. It's, their support is by themselves, I need somebody to come with you to make sure that guy dies.
Yeah. So
it's a very interesting
definitely
concept.
Hyped.
And this comes
hyped. I
out
like a lot of the ideas
next week, and by just us talking about it and us gushing about it, you can hear how excited two veteran players are for it. And this is us going, we've seen the old systems, we love the old systems, but we're excited for this new system. And the fact that moving forward, we already know it's going to be tough for us to move forward into the system, and we're going to have to relearn a bunch of stuff. But
speak for yourself. I'm going to be Twin Blast.
It's still going to be rough, like us relearning this new stuff. It's going to be like us coming into Monolith from Legacy. It's going to be this very big transition.
It's going to be a big transition, but a lot of the systems they have in place are things that I feel streamline the experience enough that I grasp it a little bit better. The card system has always been very daunting to get the math right, but once somebody found an optimal build or an optimal deck set up, that spread like wildfire, and people emulated it constantly. So now that's going to go away to a certain extent. Granted, a new meta will take hold, and we'll see what the actual stat stacking really does in the long run, and where the PCL is going to stand, and well,
coming from Sevron specifically. The only person who is going to itemize for stats are tanks. That's it.
Interesting.
Because tanks are going to have the armor. That's it.
Yeah, but you've seen the gem system that they're working, right? And how it works in one of three ways, and how each of those stacks of gems will enable you to pick the cards that you have, because you can only have 3 cards on at a time now, which I think is perfect. This is very much in, like, all of this is very much in line with what Notch was preaching months ago. He wanted smaller deck sizes, smaller hands, more compelling cards, which is what we have in version 42. What everybody's saying that, you know, is taking place, the cards themselves will weigh heavily on your play style. So I am very, very looking forward to that. It's not just build crit, build damage, build armor, build health. It's not just that anymore. It's not just build regen. Now it's build yourself around a mechanic real quickly.
Right.
You know, now you're looking at a really optimized build for a specific play style. And I love that idea. On top of that, you can build specific stats in a certain way, but they're kind of static across the board. So, like, if you're going to go with agility, you're going to get attack speed. You're going to get, you know, things in that realm.
Yeah.
So, and that's across the board for everybody. Those stats get added to whoever you are as a character. Now, the characters themselves, their stats are all changed, and some of them will have different movement speeds.
Yes.
Which is something I heard.
Something we've been waiting on for a
about.
long time.
Yeah. So I'm curious about the different movement speeds and who's going to get what, because, I mean, Chimera with, you know, higher movement speed than anybody else, which thematically it seems right. Mechanically it seems appropriate. But him being faster than other people is fucking terrifying.
Well,
he is a goddamn land shark.
Yeah, if you know what he is, and granted his whole thing is he's an early game character, blah 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 blah. That's how that comes into play.
I cannot wait to. Okay, I'm gonna dick right here. I cannot wait to see your new Chimera. I really cannot. I want to see you jungle Chimera again like you used to.
Yeah.
I really do. That is one thing you were a goddamn beast at, and I will give that to you. I love having you as a Chimera on my team.
Watching him. And, like, playing as a Chimera, you do one thing. You go, find the weak. Find the weak point, and just devour the fucker over and over and over and over again to get yourself higher and higher and higher. That way you can start devouring. Everybody becomes weaker than you for a certain extent of time. And you can go around, running around like a land shark. He's a very fun hero, but I see other things happening, like Zetchin Fire, a card that's said to come out. It deals damage to single target minion. Okay. And the more you use it, the more damage it stacks. To where you can one-shot, every 45 seconds, you can one-shot raptors.
Ooh. Yeah. That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, like, and granted, I apologize to anybody watching if you don't play, because we're talking about very specific stats and using terminology and stuff. But it's overall, it's a very fun, intimate game that takes a pretty steep learning curve, kind of like Warframe does.
All MOBAs do. All MOBAs have a steep learning curve. If you don't know MOBAs, you just don't know MOBAs. They're kind of hard to get into at first. MOBAs are some of the most technical, competitive games there are.
But it is also a free-to-play game?
Structured on, yeah.
This is also one of the free-to-play games.
Paragon is in a free-to-play state right now, which is really amazing that it's made it all this way to free-to-play. I love the fact that it is what it is, and because it's still technically in its beta stage. Well, I guess no, it is out of beta, isn't it? Because it went full free-to-play.
It's in open beta.
It's in open beta. Okay, so they're not considering a full launch. Oh yeah, that's right. They were talking about full launch once they have competitive really fleshed out, and they know they're close to it.
Right.
Because they are talking about their actual competitive league.
Yeah.
They have a cup coming up.
Yeah.
Once 42 goes live and there's a couple of weeks under their belt, they're actually going to have an invitational, aren't they?
No, it's happening this week. This weekend.
This week?
Is
it under 40? Is it going to be under 42?
It's 41. This is how they're sending 41 off.
Okay, because I saw the trophy. They posted that on Twitter.
Yeah, that's happening this week.
I didn't know the details of it because I haven't seen the
Go ahead.
PCL has been out for a couple of weeks. Like they haven't done anything with the PCL for a while.
Right, and that's because they got all the qualifiers and everything done. But yeah, if you want to see some of the gameplay, go ahead and go to Paragon, the Twitch channel, and go ahead and follow them. And this entire weekend, they're going to have their invitational coming up, so they're competitive teams. And I'm sorry if we confuse anybody. Sorry, Encore, if we confuse anybody. But it is a free game, and I would suggest going and checking it out. Because, again, just like Warframe, it's free. It's not going to hurt you to try it.
Okay, currently it's only on PlayStation and PC.
Yes.
And it is cross-platform between the two. It is a free-to-play game. It is from Epic, the same guys who do Fortnite. It's a different team, obviously. But it is a free-to-play MOBA, and it's very, very fun. I would say if you're going to look for it or look at it in any way, shape, or form, check out a couple of different streamers, most notably Another Notch Gaming, Tiger Stripe,
Covert GG. Covert TV.
Covert GG.
Covert
Yep.
TV.
Covert GG.
GG. Yeah.
There's J. Leo Grande. There's a bunch of dudes who are really, really big into the competitive scene. Not just the competitive scene, but the actual PCL.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry, man.
On the Xbox.
Yeah, that hurts.
That's harsh. NPC is dead. Well, if you do get a laptop or fucking, you know, rebuild your PC, which is something I plan on doing here in the next couple of months, it does run just fine on a toaster. So
really
even on a
does.
budget build, it'll actually run pretty good. We are just at time if you're not opposed to going over.
I do want to keep it to time because
To time?
yeah,
Okay.
I want to keep it to time.
Final. Okay. Then you got any final thoughts or anecdotes or anything?
Final thoughts would be, well, I mean, I'm super excited for what's coming in Paragon. I'm super excited to see more about Plains of Eidolon for console or for Warframe in general.
Yep. Which I do have a theory about how soon that's actually coming because of the front loading that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
But I'll save that for
some more stuff.
tinfoil hat conspiracy theory talk later.
Yeah. And
we actually did talk to Steve.
Right.
So.
Yes. Go ahead and watch out next week. We could be having a special edition of the 1002 Drink Minimum with a special guest, possibly. So definitely keep a lookout for that. It may be at a different time, so if you want to make sure not to miss it, go ahead and follow this channel. So subscribe to the Console Casuals, as well as you can go to Twitter and follow me, which I am Cazz the Casual at Underverse Adept on Twitter, and ShotFace at
ShotFace, but the O is a 0 because I wasn't the first person to get the name ShotFace on Twitter.
Okay.
So yeah, that happened.
So go ahead and follow us both there, and you'll find out any information you need will be tweeted out. We'll tweet out then. And as always, go ahead and hit that little bell to make sure you turn on notifications for us so you know when we go live. Because we do not post very often, but when we do, we are usually live streaming. And it's usually... go ahead.
Just to cover real quick, for other live streaming stuff that we do, we usually do Twitch, but it's pretty irregular. We don't regularly stream on Twitch. Now, I stream on twitch.tv/ShotFace, as it is, just as it's spelled on screen. And you actually, do you still stream on Twitch? I don't actually... I
do occasionally. Not that often anymore. I do really occasionally, but again, twitch.tv/CazzyFace. So... And
with my schedule, it'll be late in the day and stuff like that. So, I've got to handle some stuff. So if you can close this out.
Mine's,
all right.
And I periodically stream throughout the day. So if you want to go follow us there and see if any more information, definitely go check us out there. If not, usually we stream the 1002 Drink Minimum goes live usually around 8:30, which is about an hour after 8:30 EST, which is about an hour after the Play Paragon. Or, sorry, not Play Paragon. Play Warframe primetime stream. So, if you guys liked watching, go ahead and give this a like. If you found this interesting or entertaining, go ahead and comment. And thank you guys for watching. And we will be back again next week, possibly with some extra special goodies. So, as always, keep it cool, keep it casual. Thanks for watching. Still a little bit.